last and not least, Nick from Lithocraft and Paul Salmon from Lithocraft are here also to support the InDesign user group from a printing perspective. So you get to hear the other side of the story. So Nick,
sure, yeah, I'll be very quick. Obviously we're running late. Trish is also part of the Lithocraft team, so she's great and she's introduced us to the group. Paul's here tonight, obviously is the focus of the night. We, just to give you a quick recap on who we are, we're a printing company, we've got an association with a design company, all the pre-press, printing, warehousing, distribution for the sort of larger corporate accounts. Some of the samples you've got in your hands are the things that we do. And that's us, really happy to be a sponsor, and you know, I can jump in and help Paul along the way if he needs any help or questions. If you want any further information from us, Paul's card and my card and Leslie's is there. We also run educational seminars out in the factory for anyone who's interested in a deeper level of learning. We offer that as well. So that's about it.
Thanks, Nick. These guys are new to the InDesign user group, so go easy on them. With the print school that Nick was telling us about, that's actually really meant for the top clients. So he's just making that available to the InDesign user group members. So don't share it out too much. Okay. And before we get started, can the guys at the back hear me? Forgot to ask that at the beginning. Yep. And just like you guys turn off your mobile phones just so we don't get interrupted halfway through. So if you could do that, that would be great. And here's Paul Salmon.
Okay. Seeing as how most of you guys are from a creative background, I've been asked to come along tonight and to share with you some of the things that comes out of that part of the industry that slows us down. And us being sort of closer to the coalface in the printing industry, because obviously a lot of design does come our way. So Trish has asked me to actually sort of get together 10 of the things that tend to waste time and obviously waste money as well. So I'm just going to jump straight in and sort of just do a little bit of a show and tell, and just give you an idea on the problems that we occur, and just a few examples of how I'll go about fixing them if I was doing the design. So we're just sort of going to run through, I've just put up on the screen there just the things that we're going to run through today. Now, they're just the 10 most things that me and my guys over the last month have just decided to do a little bit of an audit and see just how these things occur quite regular and how we'd like to get them addressed. I'll just quit out of this. The first one is actually one that when I actually went to the Adobe seminar last year for the upgrade to CS5, I thought that I'd actually seen the end of this, but the uptake in this hasn't been quite as good as what I would have liked. What it is basically we're getting supplied. The first example that we've given you here tonight is what we've got a 6-page roll file here. Now, one of the things that happens from the design concept on the roll file is that there has to be a short page at the end of it, and these things have to be supplied so that they can actually fold in shorter than the page before and roll over and be guillotined flush, so that this can all be done quite seamlessly in the bindery. What we're getting at the moment, and still getting, and we're quite acceptable that we were getting it before the page tool came out in InDesign last year, we were getting this, where people are putting in supplying a flat page, all of equal lengths, and basically giving us this crazy little trim here that's been just drawn in at the end here. So that was then what that does for us is we have to go in, we have to make another page, we have to centre the job, because we've actually got pagination and imposition software that has to allow for everything to be the right size. If we were to do that, everything would be off centre, the job would be cut wrong, and it wouldn't work. So that does actually slow us down in the long run. So when I saw this at the seminar, I thought this is going to be great. This is finished now. Everybody's going to start using this tool. It's been a few months now and we're still getting this sort of garbage coming out. So it's very simple. This is obviously a wrong example. This page should be, this job should be 60 mils and 58 mils. But what someone's done in their wisdom here is just set it up as 360 pages and just tagged on this little trim at the end of it as a token gesture to pre-press. So there you go. So that annoys us a little bit. Another way to do it would be not even to put it in and just basically go 60, 60, 60. With any of these, whether you've got a gatefold, a roll fold, or just something in a magazine that folds in, using this tool is actually so easy to do. It's just a matter of grabbing the tool, linking it on there, and your custom size can be just put in. And it's that easy. That's why it is so frustrating. It's just done. So it's there. When I went to the seminar, there was about 5 yells of joy that were all pre-pressed people when we saw that because it's so simple. We don't know why Adobe didn't do it years ago, but yeah. So that was that's in there now. So we can start using that. We've so just to sort of clarify it, this is sort of like a diagram of where we're saying that this is incorrect down the bottom here, where we're getting these even pages put in. What we'd like to see is, now that the tool's there, we'd like to see this start to be used. All the information's up there to be seen for the different size pages as you want to put them in, and the tool's just sitting there. So it doesn't matter if you export it as a spread to PDF once you've done it, or if you export it as single pages. You've saved us a lot of time because the page, the bleed and the design are correct. And you might say 2 mils, 3 mils, big deal, but if you see this great white gap going down the middle of your file, if it's 2 mils, it's still going to look ugly. So we've just got a couple of examples here of things that didn't quite go to plan. The same that we've had to, especially as a PDF, you can see over here there's no bleed on that, and we've had to, quite often these days we don't get InDesign files, we don't get the native files, we get the PDF, and it makes it even harder to go in and adjust all these things. So there's one where somebody's actually put that in as equal amounts all the way through. Just find the crop tool and the new. Now that one works, Trev?
Sorry, new computer, so it's a bit glitchy. Apologise.
You've got to double click the actual page now.
Oh, right. Beautiful.
Who's running this presentation?
Thank you. So this is actually down, as you can see, it's down to 630 there. Again, it should be as a flat. It should have been exported at 628. So we're going to have to either short trim that in the bindery, so we've got to follow it down to the next stage and hope that somebody does it, or we've got to actually go in and put the PDF back into InDesign and actually centre it correctly, or crop it. Hang on. So that becomes that's all things that just cost time that can be done right from the start. A good sort of education in the printing parameters and what have to go in design is just fantastic because it just speeds everything up. There's just so much less time in printing now, and especially the pre-press part of it. We're getting a lot smaller piece of the pie when it comes to fixing things and doing things. So what we're endeavouring to do through print school and through nights like tonight is to try and get these things addressed one step up so that we can actually just streamline things all the way through. The second one actually is another one that happens quite often and is very annoying. You'll see in the client supplied PDF the die cut on this is actually set to knockout. Sorry about this, guys. I've not actually used the latest version of Acrobat here. In the output preview, which is a fantastic tool for you guys to start using, I'd recommend that basically anything you produce in InDesign and you've made your PDF, always have a view with your output preview turned on, and also and then have a look at your overprinting settings, have a look at how your colours are interacting with each other. You'll notice that as soon as you turn off this tabs die cut form, that there's this white sitting behind it. Now, if we miss that, that's how that's going to print. And there's no way that we're going to cut that shape out to exactly that white line or crease on exactly that white line. So there's another thing there that we're worried that we're actually going to miss, make it to the press, and that could ruin a print run. So it's one that we're constantly going into pit stop, which is a plugin in Acrobat, and slowing us down, setting it to overprint, and we're always fearful that we're going to miss that.
Paul, would you mind repeating what you call that one, number 2?
Well, that would just be making sure that your die cut is set to knockout, and I'll show you how to do that in the InDesign in a minute, and also just making sure that it's set to a 5th colour. Another thing that we get that's quite often here, and I haven't quite got an example of it, is we'll open that up and this tabs die cut form colour will actually be out of 4 colour. It won't be a 5th colour. So we just basically, all we say to people in the information form that we give out is just to make sure that the die cut is actually set to a 5th colour and that 5th colour is set to overprint. And it's the same pretty much that we'll cover later on in a lot of the varnish areas as well. So if you're doing a varnish. So what we see on the one that we've actually had to fix, one of my guys has had to fix, is as soon as you actually turn off the actual separate the output preview, so if you haven't got it open, you just don't know if that's happening. So I would just recommend that to be used all the time, as far as just as a general flight check for your work when you've finished it. So you can see that one there. This one, the guys has fixed. It's picked it up, and that's what it should look like. The die cut should have nothing to do with what's underneath it. It's just there as a guide for us to cut the job later on. So that's something that we like to see done, and it's starting to get there. But it is one of those sort of annoying things that is just pops up 10 to 15 times a week and just slows the work down. And sooner or later, the pure repetition of it is going to cause it to get through and we end up with what we call a spoilage for it eventually.
Who pays for that?
Well, we probably do if we want to print your job again, but that's if we don't, then we get
It's
used.
the responsibility of the designer.
Yeah, yeah, it is technically. We will endeavour to put procedures in where